Welcome back. So this video, I want to go from the very beginning of how we got here. Because I feel like the story needs to be told of how did somebody from Savannah, Georgia, Sunset Park to be exact, start a hedge fund and is now trying to build a billion-dollar company in his hometown, Savannah, Georgia. So here we go. So both of my parents are retired from the government. My mom is a retired educator and my dad retired from the post office. May he rest in peace. And so essentially they both had pensions. And so stocks, commodities, futures, bonds was never discussed in our household. And so growing up, I was always taught either to go to college or serve in the military, get a good job, start a family, all the good things, right? And that's what I did. So I went to school in Atlanta, right? Georgia Tech, go Jackets. And I graduated, got out, as we say, and I came back home to Savannah. And immediately, what I wanted to do was education. That's a very long story, so I'll just fast forward. So fast forwarding a whole lot. I'm working at Gulfstream Aerospace, and I am working my dream job at my dream company. So when you think about me, you know that I love airplanes. If I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, I would probably be in the Navy and trying my very best to be a pilot for the Blue Angels. And so I am at Gulfstream. This is my third year at Gulfstream at this point. And I've worked in finance for 2 years. And right after that, I had Gulfstream actually pay for my MBA. So I just graduated from my MBA from Georgia Southern, and I just got a promotion, right? So there's another job that came up. I applied for it in another department called customer support, and essentially I got the job, and it was basically to help develop and then administer this new program called AOS, Aircraft Ownership Service. So this new program was going to replace the old program of plane parts, and so I was like super excited because number one, I got to use my degree, right? I just got an MBA. And so being able to use like the business things that I've learned in school and apply it to this new program was fantastic. Working with people, leading people, it was great. Also, I was actually making more money than I've ever made in my entire life, right? So life was really good. And I'm talking about like, I love that job. Like I was coming in super early, leaving super late, and just really having a really good time. And about a year into that job, God told me to quit that job and teach people about the financial markets. Now, mind you, I didn't have basically any knowledge of the financial markets. I had very basic knowledge, what a stock was, what a bond, stuff like that. But to be teaching people about that, no, I didn't have that much knowledge. And God was like, no, I want you to quit and teach people about the financial markets. And I was like, you talking to me? Like, you want me to quit? Because, like I said before, I just got a new job, making more money. My commute is also like 15 minutes, so it's super close. Things are going really well. And you want me to quit now and do that? And so I'm like, okay, all right, God, I'll try to be obedient. So of course I began to research, how to do this, right? So reading about and watching videos about stocks, bonds, etc. So of course, what do? You go on YouTube, right? And I'm just seeing all this nonsense, fake gurus selling fake courses. And I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, then I want to do it in a way that I thought it should be done, right? You should go on YouTube, it's free. People should be offering you good education, right? If you're gonna make a video about something, be knowledgeable and not try to be sleazy and try to sell you some nonsense course. So I said, all right, God, I'm gonna be obedient. And so I quit on faith, right? And a normal person looking at that, little experience in the financial markets, in trading, stocks, none of that, all of that. And you know, to quit your job to do that and at the same time teach people, crazy. So I quit, and man, as I was doing it, I was getting requests maybe like a month. Well, let me say like 2 or 3 months into it. I was getting requests from folks around the country like, "Hey, I love what you're doing. Let me send you some money." And I was like, no. Do not send me any money. Let me just teach you. And they were like, "No, I want to send you money so you can manage for me." I was like, "No, please don't do that, because there's so many rules around who can manage money for other people." And so I was like, don't do that. Just watch. But I realized is that this was actually market research. For whatever reason, people want it done for them, right? They may not have the time to do it, the energy, the knowledge, whatever the case may be, but they wanted it done for them. And so after, I don't know, a few months after that, I was getting just, like I said, message after message about that. I said, okay, you know what? Let me just try to figure out how to do that. And so I began to research how to make money for other people. And so I went across like financial advisor, hedge fund manager, stuff like that. And when I got to hedge fund manager, I really liked that. But when I began to read about who they could serve, right? So I want to be able to serve everybody, no matter their financial background. And hedge fund managers, especially those that manage futures, has a really, really high bar, right? And so in order to be an investor in my hedge fund, you have to be what you call a qualified eligible person, or a QEP. In order to be a QEP, you have to have $2.1 million in assets. And government, I believe our Congress leaders actually voted to increase that to, I believe, $5 million. So as you can imagine, most Americans do not have $5 million in assets. So essentially, by law, they're eliminated from the opportunity. And that's what really upset me, because as I was reading about this, I was like, so you mean to tell me that there are companies set up that their only job is to make you money, right? Hedge funds, venture capitalists, private equity, private credit. These companies are set up to make their investors money. But as a normal person, right, the vast majority of Americans cannot invest because they don't have the assets, right, or the income. So you mean to tell me, by law, our government will prohibit someone from investing in those companies, but at the same time will allow you to gamble, bet on sports, play the lottery? Like, and as I began to read, I just was so livid, because I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And I get that, well, the other side of the argument is, well, if you gamble, if you invest in the wrong thing, you could lose, money. And I get all of that, trying to protect people. I get that. But you allow them to do things that we know are detrimental to them. Gambling, playing the lottery, betting on sports, those are activities that will bring nothing but financial ruin. And so it just, like I said before, it just infuriated me. And so I said, okay, you know what? I want to start a hedge fund, but I want it to be for everybody, right? I want to really literally be the hedge fund for everyone. And so I started a hedge fund. And things go well, and I'm trying to figure out how to serve everybody, because as I said before, we have these rules that we have to follow, and we can only serve QEPs. And so finally, I'm talking about, we've paid like attorneys, we've done our own research. It's been years of trying to go back and forth to try to figure out this thing. But finally, we have a pathway. So we realized that we were actually playing the wrong game, right? Instead of trying to acquire and find these QEPs, right? And so also too, this is the thing that really upset me as well. Is so starting a hedge fund, because you can only serve QEPs, there's a very small pool of people that you can actually have in your fund. Well, I don't come from a wealthy background. So trying to find wealthy people to invest in my hedge fund, as you can imagine, is extremely difficult. On top of that, hedge funds, because if they're private companies, and if they're private and only serve QEPs, they cannot advertise, they can't solicit, they can't market, so no ads, no commercials, no nothing. So imagine trying to grow a company that your only target customer are wealthy people, but you don't know anybody wealthy, and you can't advertise or market in any way. Imagine how difficult it is to grow that company. So, needless to say, we're fighting the wrong game. And like I said before, finally, I figured it out. One of our advisory board members, Ryan Leslie, said something along the lines of licensing our algorithm to other hedge funds. And for a while, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to keep it in-house. But what he said had a lot of merit. And so I'm going back to that. I'm thinking, okay, you know what? That could work. And voila, here we are. So instead of trying to fight this fight that we were already, not equipped to fight, of trying to start a hedge fund to acquire investors that are, number one, few and far in between, but also two, hard to find, and hard to get in contact with, and hard to acquire. I said, you know what? Let's license Project Exodus, which is the proprietary algorithm that I created. Let's license this algorithm to other asset managers. And then on top of that, once we do that, let's go public, right? Let's have an IPO. That way, anybody, no matter their financial background, can purchase the shares and, of course, reap the benefits of the company. So that's what we're doing. So I am literally in this moment transitioning from a hedge fund to a fintech company. And this company is going to be licensing Project Exodus, and we will be getting a license fee from hedge funds, asset managers, etc. And those license fees will go to be dividends to our investors. And so that's what we're trying to do. And so I am super excited about the opportunity, because finally, for the first time since we started the hedge fund, which was back in 2021, for the first time, I'm actually able to serve who I want to serve, which is everybody, right? I don't want to be able to just serve wealthy people. I want to be able to serve everyone, because if I'm just helping wealthy people become more wealthy, there isn't much benefit in that. If you already got $10 million and I help you get another 2 or 3 million, so what? But if you are a normal person, right? Someone who is not wealthy, but aspires to be, and I help you do that, that is amazing. That is the correct use of my talents. And that's what I'm trying to do from the very beginning. And so the fact that we finally are able to do that, I'm ecstatic. So that's a little bit about the background. I'll get into more of my story as we get further down the road, but I want to just go back and say, and give you the details as to how we got started. And so the hedge fund itself, I've made millions, I've lost millions, and it has been a fantastic journey. But I think the biggest thing for me is being able to serve everyone, being able to live out the mission that I was called to. And so the hedge fund will still be in existence, but I'm taking all of my energy into this new fintech company, and I'm super excited about it. And to be able to bring that wealth to Savannah, oh man, like that's just all the more better as far as the mission. Because I look at like a Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is the CEO and founder of Berkshire Hathaway, large company headquartered in, of all places, Omaha, Nebraska. Nebraska, middle of the country, you know, it's not heavily populated. But the way that Warren runs his company, I know that his company blesses millions of people in that city. The economic benefits alone are tremendous. I'll give you one example. So every year, Berkshire Hathaway has an annual investors conference, right? It's called an annual meeting where all our investors come in, and for a few days, or maybe one day or a few days, they basically discuss the company. There's a conference, vendors, the whole thing. And I think about that. I say, you know, there's vendors coming in, so there's, you know, food and beverage, there's hospitality, right? Hotels. The economic benefit of that conference or that annual meeting every year, I know is substantial. And so if you can do that in Omaha, of all places, surely I can do that in Savannah, Georgia, where it's nice and sunny. We have, you know, the beaches, we have golf, you know, of course, great food. So yeah, like, but to be able to bring those wealth and blessings back home, right? And look at like places like, you know, Chicago, London, Hong Kong, right? New York, where a lot of hedge funds are, right? A lot of fintech companies are. Those cities benefit greatly from those companies being there, right? Paying taxes, employing people, etc. And so I cannot wait to have all of those economic benefits back home to Savannah. So I'm super excited. I'm super grateful too. And so hopefully you'll join me on this mission. I think it just stopped. I think the first camera just stopped, but oh well, we're gonna keep rolling. So hopefully you'll join me on this mission. You'll see us do this, and just pray for me. And I pray that you all get to see what I see in my head for Savannah and the surrounding areas. So, but yeah, if you made it this far in the video, once again, thank you so much. I want you to leave the number 88 in the video, in the comment section of the video, so I can know that you made it this far. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. All right, so behind the scenes, it's the first time with a 3-camera setup. Uno, dos, tres. All right, so let's see. Kind of like my iPad to be off camera like that. That'll be good. So I got my receiver plugged into the iPad to receive the sound. So, you know, I'm trying to get good sound this time. So yeah, I think. And so also, my iPad doubled as a monitor as well, so I can see myself, which I think is good. The only thing is, I cannot see myself from the camera. I can see myself from cameras 2 and 3, but not from camera 1. So, you know, it'd be great to have like an assistant or somebody directing everything, but when you are shooting content by yourself, this is the limitation that you have to, you know, overcome. So, all right, but I think I'm good to go. So hopefully the sound works out. Hopefully this recording goes well, because I do not want to be recording. Yeah, I don't want to be recording for too long. I want to get this hopefully in one shot, and I'll go from there. All right, so after further review of the camera 1, I don't want to have my iPad in shot. So I think I'm gonna put this down. The only thing is, I gotta trust that everything's gonna be recording. Oh, goodness gracious. So, it is what it is at this point. So, all right. I'm comfortable and got all my cameras rolling. So let's rock and roll. But, all right, let's get this done because my wife was like, all right, hurry up, boy. All right. Welcome back. So if you saw my first episode, all right, here we go. And I'm working my dream job at my dream company. So I love aircraft. If you know anything about me, you know, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, I would probably be in the Blue Angels. Well, not in the Blue Angels. I guess in the Blue Angels, but I would be a pilot in the Blue Angels. There we go. Let's try it again. And so, essentially, stocks. Jesus Christ! I get this done. Welcome back. In this episode, I'm going to give you. And so, you know. This is so annoying. Why can't you get this right? Okay, you can do this, Jay. You can do this. Alright, just be casual, just talk. Be casual, be cool, and just talk. Alright.